Do you think Japanese people is work too much? And or including foreigners, do you think work too much?
There is this
日本で住んでて、ここ変だなって思うことありました？
ほぼ毎日そう思います。
そう思う。
深い話だと多分一番変はね、建前と本音。
What kind of culture do you find weird?
I mean, there are a lot of kind of rules that people have to just follow.
Where are you from?
I'm from Italy.
How long have you been in Japan?
I've been living in Japan for almost 60 years.
In the first place, what brought you to Japan?
At the beginning, I came because I met my actual Japanese wife in Italy, and then in order to live together, I moved in Japan, in Hiroshima.
What do you do for a living?
I'm working like a tour guide, so I bring around Japan Italian people mostly, but in Hiroshima also English speaker customers.
Today's topic is, what's it like working in Japan as a foreigner? Do you have ever experienced like working culture in Japan?
So I start in 2019. I opened my freelance position as a tour guide, as I told you. I'm an independent worker, so I didn't have any boss over me. So I'm actually free to do whatever I want when I want. But during COVID, since the borders of Japan were closed, I had to find other jobs. So I work in a couple of Japanese restaurants, and Hiroshima is like a countryside city compared to Tokyo, or Osaka, or Kyoto. So not so many people are able to speak English. So it was always Japanese, and at the beginning it was kind of hard for me. And working under someone, of course, in a different country was the first experience for me. Fortunately, where all the people were nice to me, but sometimes, because of something called tatemae or honne, you never knows what really the Japanese guy or girl that is talking to you, if they're telling the truth or not. So I didn't understand sometimes.
Do you have some example, like what is some tatemae and honne?
Honne?
Yes.
For example, Kazu, he has this shirt. If you want to say something in tatemae, if you don't like this shirt, but if you don't want to hurt his feelings, you would say that this shirt is the best that you can buy in the world. And honne is instead telling the truth. So if he's my friend, I would be honest and direct to him, and I would say, sorry Kazu, but your shirt is a shit. This is a clear example of honne and tatemae.
Okay. And how do you think about my shirts?
I mean, on you it looks good, to be honest. Yes, I don't know on me.
What you worked in the Japanese restaurant, right? And do you think Japanese people is work too much? And or including foreigners, do you think work too much?
There is this opinions that Japanese people work and they only work. And in my opinion, it's because they have to do in order to show to someone that they are a very good worker. But to be honest, compared to Italians, they don't work that much as many people think. I'm talking about like office worker, for example, but I didn't have an experience to work in Shokuten, I'd say in English, I forgot. In a restaurant in Italy. I had only my experience was in Japan. The service is completely different. Even if a very low-ranking restaurant in Japan, you have to treat the customer as like a god. So also for me, it was difficult to behave in that way. But fortunately, I found like my boss was very, I'd say, nice, and he allowed me to be myself. But if you are Japanese, you have to respect the rule in a very strict way. And I think it's very hard.
Right now, how's your life in Japan?
I'm enjoying my life now. Was able to go back to my previous job, which is like being a guide. It's good because I'm working with a lot of Italians, so I don't miss Italy that much. Even the food in Japan, there's a lot of nice pizzeria, so if you like pizza, don't worry, you can find. And I'm a freelance, so I can work when I want and how I want, so I can take holiday when I want. So I think as a freelance in Japan, it's the best place where you can live and work. But if you work, in my opinion, in a Japanese company, as a foreigner, it will be very difficult because the culture, the way you have to work and to treat your colleague or your boss it's a completely different way.
Do you have any advice for people who want to work in Japan?
I got this question many times from my followers. I don't know how to call them. So a lot of people ask me, please Dario, can you help me to find a way to come to work and live in Japan? And my advice is, since there is of course a language barrier, you need first to learn Japanese language in order to be able to communicate and get in touch or talk and communicate
Communicate
with your colleagues, with your boss, in order to don't have this kind of problem, because not maybe so many people know, but in Japan not so many Japanese are able to speak English, so you have to learn the local language, of course. So my advice is, if your dream is really to live in Japan, I suggest you to come and study Japanese in a Japanese school at least 1 year, and then also get a part-time job, so you can see how is really living in Japan. Not holiday is holiday because you spend money, you don't have to work, but living and get money in order to live is completely different. So first, go to school.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Where are you from?
I'm from Japan.
Which part of Japan are you from?
So I was born and raised in Kanagawa Prefecture, but then actually yeah, for my life, yeah, like 24 years, yeah.
What do you do for a living?
So basically now I just work in film industry. Like actually like kind of crazy to say, but it's been just 2 or 3 months so far. But I've been training, like in film industry then to learn a lot of things.
And what's it like working in film industry in Japan?
Well, it's kind of controversial. I mean, it's kind of controversial to say, but working in film industry is kind of hectic. It's really hard. Yeah, it's really kind of tough, to work in that industry. Honestly, I mean, to me, I like to do those kind of creative things, so it's fine, But to people who are not interested in that kind of working in film industry, then that would get people kind of depressed for sure. I see so many people like just quit a job, immediately, just a month or 2 months, stuff. Then they just leave the company for sure. Like,
How long do you work in a day?
well, depends on what you work on, but
Yeah, like average.
for sure. Like average 12 or 13 hours in a day. But like if you just work on something really takes you a lot, like that's gonna be like 40 or like 40. I mean not 40, sorry, 40, like 20, 21 hours in a day. That's you don't even have that much time for sleep. You just do it like whole day, like throughout the day. Like that's kind of hard, yeah.
But do you like that job?
Yeah, I really like that job. Once again, I really like to do like those kind of creative things, and also, that gives me a lot of things. Just create the new things and just show that things, like to people. Then that gives me a lot of kind of rewarding things. So yeah.
Do you think Japanese people basically work too much?
Yeah, I would say so. Like compared to other countries, like I have a lot of friends from other countries. Let's say like European, they would rather spend on themselves, not like on work. But like when it comes to like work hour style, like culture in Japan, they spend like freaking time on like work. Like I don't know, like they don't like to work. They like I saw some people like don't like to work, but they always go to work and just come back to work, just go to sleep, then just wake up again and just go to work, like even though they just spend on nothing, for sure, like, but they just working for money, that they just chasing money, like no, I feel like it's not that they're missing the point, to work, like the work is more like supposed to like make you feel kind of rewarding, no like chasing the money, like you better to do what you like, like, but this is a kind of Japanese society, I would say, that's really hard to just get out of that situation, I would say, yeah.
Specifically, give me example, like what kind of culture do you find weird in Japan?
I mean, there are a lot of kind of rules that people have to just follow. You know, like also like people really, I mean, like people really think what other things. You know, that's why that's the point. You know, like people cannot do what. I mean, people can not be different here. You know, like if you just go for like different things, they're like it's gonna be kind of look weird. You know, like because like I don't know, like people like I don't know, this is a culture. I think, you know, like people cannot like people barely can get exactly what they want because of this society pressure. You know, like I know like you people really sometimes people say like, you know, like hey, you have to just step into what you like to do, you know, like otherwise, you know, life moves so fast, you know, so that's why you have to just you gotta move, but you know, like it's really hard, you know, to move because of this kind of society sucks, you know, like that's what I found out, you know, like throughout my life, you know, like in other countries. So yeah.
If you have any advice for people who want to work in Japan,
I mean, like I've been saying like about. I mean, I've been saying something bad, you know, like, about Japan, but Japan is really a good country, honestly. But in terms of work, you know, I'll be kind of there's something that they can change, you know. But yeah, like I also, if you want to work in Japan, then just go for it. But you better to find, you better to Google it. You better to just search exactly what you want. You know, you have to just. I mean, like, don't make a goal to get a job in Japan. Just make a goal to, just to make a goal to find what you love, like in job. You know, not a kind of not just, you know, just don't just focus on just, you know, getting a job. You know, that's yeah, I think yeah.
that's true. Okay, thank you so much. Where are you from?
南アフリカ共和国 I'm from South Africa
日本で住まれてどれぐらいですか？
もう16年ですよね。
何歳の時に来られたんですか？
来た時はもう23、24歳だったよね。
南アフリカから来るって結構レアだと思うんですけど。
ALT で来たから。英語話せるの若ちんは日本に来たら英語の先生で来た。
日本で住んでてここ変だなって思うことありました？
ほぼ毎日そう思います。
思う。
深い話だと多分一番変はね、建前と本音。もう16年でもうその建前の考え方を全くわからない。自分はもう 100%、110% いつでもどこでも本音です。こんな感じです。
まあ日本のその建前とかはあんまり気にせず生きてきたみたいな感じですか？
全く好きじゃないだけど、まあここで仕事する生活するは、まあどうしてもそれを分かってる方がいいけど、もう全然好きじゃないです。
今仕事って何されてますか？
動画制作、写真撮影、まあそういうことです。
それいつからですか？
英語の先生終わった後10年経ってぐらいその感じで、まあいろんな会社にも働いてたけど今はフリーランスでやってます。
この日本の働き方って日本と、まあ、その自分の自国と考えたときに何が違いますか？
実は分からない。来た時はもう大学卒業1年ちょいだからもう何ヶ月しか向こうで働いたことない。だから逆に向こうはグラフィックデザイン会社でやっててもう結構自由な感じでやってて、今もう自分の仕事も結構自由な感じでやってるから一緒かどうか分かんないけど、でも確かに日本の会社はおかしい。
ああ、そうなんです。
それはあんまり好きじゃなかったけど、その経験は。
どんなところがおかしいと思いました？
社長はいつもボスって感じで、別に命令があったらはいしか言わない。
それは確かに言えてますね。最後になんかこう日本で働きたい人に向けてもしアドバイスがあれば教えてください。
If you want to come to Japan to work and live, rethink your options. Rethink again. I can tell you right now, living in Japan and visiting Japan for holidays is two different. This is the best place in the world to visit on a holiday. It is the worst place in the world to fucking live as a foreigner. And I'll say this straight up. 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to leave and work elsewhere. I thought, no, I'm going to make something of myself in Japan, and I have. But if I could go back 10 years, I would have left. Absolutely, this is not a great place to live and work as a creative, independent thinking, left of field, insane person. If you like the corporate workflow, if you like doing what you're told, sure, great. But if you in any way, shape or form are a creative-minded person, honestly, rethink your options. Come here, party. Live for like 5-10 years, have a good time, have a good experience. But don't think of lifing it here because I'm pushing 40 now. If I could go back 10 years, I get the fuck out. Straight up.
ありがとうございます。